Welcome back to Coast Vue. I hope you enjoyed that replay with my conversation with Austin Golding. What an incredible leader he is in this state. The work that he's doing through Golding Barge Company is critical, really, to our farmers and to our petroleum industry. We're lucky to have a business like that working out of Vicksburg that is making such an impact for, sort of the importance of this country. And he's such a bright young man. I just enjoy spending time with him. Okay, now let's shift gears and move over to my friend Captain Sonny Schindler. We're actually going to spend a little bit of time with him this morning, catching up on the latest, and then he's going to actually join me again tomorrow, and we're going to talk about a special event that they did. But without any further ado, let me invite Sonny into the conversation. Sonny, by the way, is with Sure Thing Charters in Bay St. Louis. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. How you been?
I'm doing fantastic. Well, we're in a transition time. I had the opportunity to talk a little bit about coastal Mississippi fishing on SuperTalk Outdoors Monday with our friend Ronnie Daniels. Mm-hmm. And this is a transition time. You got to be sharp this time of year to catch fish, don't you?
In every sense of the word. I mean, it's playing the wind, finding bait, going early some days, going later some other ones, and watching salinities. And this, if you can find some action this month, it really does make you a better fisherman getting proficient at fishing April, because it's just a windy, just weird month.
Yeah.
And we're rolling most every day, unless rain or crazy wind. But they make you work for it in April, man.
I know they do. Look, even if we were to take the rain out of the equation and the wind out of the equation, the fact that the water, what we're hoping is the water gets up into the 70s and starts to move forward. Things start to happen. As Ronnie pointed out, you start to see the brown shrimp start to come out of the bays, and just the whole bait structure starts to move toward more of a summertime scenario. When the water is cool, you have, these fish are like sheephead and black drum and redfish. They can congregate around some of the structures, but then as the water starts to heat up, they start to disperse. That's normal. When you add the rain and the wind to the scenario, it can make for a challenging time. But that doesn't mean you don't catch fish. You can still have. This is a beautiful time of the year, really, isn't it?
Yeah. No. I mean, we fish year round, and minus that wind and rain, April's awesome. It's not 100 degrees, and your sunrise is a little later in the morning, so we're not getting up at all these crazy hours. But it's just you got to play the hand you're dealt. You got to know the limits of your boat or your body, and like any time, you don't take chances. And look, if it's blowing 20 out of the east, it's probably not the best day to make the long run. But I can't tell you how many days we worked last week where it was blowing 20 out of the east. And it's just, you take what you can get. It's a mixed bag. Some days it's a little heavy on the redfish. Some days it's a little heavy on the black drum. And, we're seeing a few trout here and there, but you don't want to get, you don't want to rush it. You don't want to make that long run in unsafe conditions to try and turn April into May. May's coming, June's coming. Just get out there and enjoy what you can, and just be patient.
I like the way you said that. Don't try to force April into May. 'Cause, I go back when I was younger, man. We did that a lot. We tried to force April into May, and every now and then we get lucky and just catch it right and do really well. But it doesn't really start heating up big time until you get into May and June, et cetera. But for people who have not heard us talk before, give them a little bit of a primer on Sure Thing Fishing Charters.
Okay. So we are based out of our home base is Bayou Caddy, but we do have several slips in Rimmer Covington's Shaggy's charter docks. I think we've got 4 slips there. And we cover a lot of ground. We fish. All of our boats and guides are licensed to fish Mississippi and Louisiana. We do still run with the house out of Cat Island for our overnight all-inclusive trips. But we pretty much fish about the furthest east we go is maybe Ship Island on the bay boats. And then the furthest west we go is probably Lake Bourne into the Wrigley's. And we do still have, Alex still runs the offshore boat when the snapper and cobia stuff is going. He'll run a little bit further out, but the weather's got to be perfect. So right now we have 10 guides working under our flag and 11 boats because Alex has the bay boat and the offshore boat. And we do our best to keep them busy, keep them rolling, keep them coming back. That's our goal, is show them a good time and keep them coming back.
Well, and I know you guys are really focused on that. Part of what you and I have talked about in the past, and Ronnie Daniel and I have talked about this as well, is that one of the keys to your success is that certainly you're focused on fishing, but you want to show a great time for the people who are visiting here. And he told a story, as you have before as well, of a couple that came here with him and fished for years and years, and then she died, unfortunately. But the older gentleman is still coming back year after year, and it's his way of sort of remembering her. But you've seen very similar scenarios, haven't you?
Most definitely. It stinks. We lost some good men, women, that have fished with us, and it's a part of it. But we do that. We do the memorial trips. We had one last year. It was a good one. And you may know the people. They used to have Mississippi Music. Remember the Mississippi Music Shop?
Oh yeah, I do. Of course I do.
So Dex, his name's Dexter. He passed, but his favorite. When he passed, before he did, he told his family, "Look, take my ashes," and he picked about 3 or 4 of his most favorite places on the planet. It was like the Caribbean, and I think there was maybe Austin, because he was a big music guy, and one of them was Cat Island. So they booked the trip, and they brought some of his ashes, and we came in early from one of the evening trips. And they played some music, and everybody took, and he was a red Solo cup drinker. So when he'd have his cocktail, he'd always drink out of a red Solo cup. So they put his ashes in the cups, and while they were playing music and giving thanks, they went out on the dock and cast his ashes into the canal, and right as the sun was setting. I've done some cool things and seen some stuff over the last 2 decades and change, but that was one of the most memorable trips I think I've ever been a part of. It was cool. It was really, really cool.
So when you think about the bays and bayous, and you mentioned you'll make a run into Lake Bourne over to the Wrigley's, you'll fish the Louisiana Marsh, you'll fish Bay St. Louis. I mean, you're able to go, because you trailer your boat, you're able to go to where you believe the fish are going to go, and the captains do a great job of communicating with each other. But when you think about how Cat Island fits into that repertoire of opportunities, and now that you've become a bit of a bird expert, it's interesting to see what you've done there. But Cat Island is, man, it's a unique destination, isn't it?
Yeah. And you've been, but that's 7 miles. If you weren't looking at that Gulfport, Pass Christian, Long Beach skyline, and I told you were somewhere out in the middle of the ocean, you'd believe me. I mean, that is its own world, with the beaches and the bayous and the forest, and just all the crazy animals that come and visit. The fallout's happening. It should be happening right about now. This big blow that we've got it should have brought them through. And we're going to be there for it. We've got Mr. Robert Smith coming. We got a whole week pretty much of birding coming for April, which we love it. I mean, it's so neat seeing all this stuff right here in our front yard, all these beautiful birds and exotics coming through. And we still get to fish, So you get the best of both worlds.
Hey, when we come back on the other side for the Facebook and YouTube audience, we'll show a couple of photographs, and for the radio audience, we'll tell you what the photographs are of. But I love coming back to people like Sonny to focus on coastal Mississippi fishing because, as I say on my outdoor show every single week, part of the reason why we're the capital of the outdoors in America is because of what's happening here along the coast, and I love spending time focusing on it. So anyway, when we come back on the other side, we'll continue our conversation with Captain Sonny Schindler. See you after this. Welcome back to Coast Vue. I'm my friend Captain Sonny Schindler with us, and we're just kind of talking about May. Here I am. I'm trying to make April into May. There you go. Yeah, I'm doing it just like we talked about earlier. But talking about April fishing and some of the challenges we have this time of year. And, when it's not blowing and we don't have rain, as Sonny pointed out, it's a cool, wonderful time of year to fish. In fact, what I enjoy doing, Sonny, this time of year when the salinities aren't messed up is fishing the edge of the marshes with soft plastic for redfish. It's just usually you can do well. Of course, when you do that though, you've got to have people who can fish, that can really cast, or that can be pretty miserable throwing soft plastics constantly into the marsh and having to go get the hook on hook. But if you've got experienced fishermen with you, so that's a fun fishing approach, isn't it?
It is. And Ricky, we got a name for those people that can't cast and put that bait in the marsh every day. You know what we call them? Customers. Look, man, my last island trip, and I may have sent you a picture with this one, but I had a boatload of ladies, man, 3 generations of them. Grandma, the mom, and the kids, but they, for the most part, almost that's it. I had, cast every pole, and that when we went to the beach and on the way in, it was just too pretty not to stop and fish. But I cast every pole every time, and look, happy to do it. If it gets us in the fish and gets a smile on their face, and that memory, that fish with all them, they'll never forget that. So
Sonny, look, I do the same thing. If I've got some folks with me who can't do it, what we'll do is we'll go into some of these small little bodies of water that are off the river or off the bayous. And while Jordan or Justin, my 2 sons, and I will fish toward the marsh, our guests will say just fish this way and work it this way, and sometimes they'll get fish out in the open. And what we'll do is we'll continue to work the edges, and if we get a fish, we can just immediately hand him the rod, and that's just they don't care. They're looking for a pool. They're looking for the opportunity to do it. And as they cast over there, they're getting a lot of experience. It's just repetition. When that rod becomes part of who you are, then it's when you do it unconsciously is when you really get good at it. That's just the way it is. Hey, Kyle, let's throw up a couple of photos and we'll explain to the radio audience what we're looking at. But I always enjoy having these conversations with Captain Sonny because we get a chance to see what they're doing. But you got a couple of happy customers there, I think, with some looks like some drums, small drums.
Yeah, the puppy drum came in thick this year, man. It's been nice because they're pretty much all in protected waters.
Yeah, is that at the Bay St. Louis Bridge?
That's at the Bay St. Louis train bridge right there.
Yeah, at the train bridge. You're right. So are you just fishing along the structure, basically?
Yeah, most of the time. Lately, it's just been 1, hiding from the wind, and 2, hopefully hiding somewhere where it's fishy. And
yeah.
Luckily,
more puppy drum. There's a nice flounder. Flounder's starting to come in now.
Lake Bourne. I had to go get tucked up in those bayous one day. The wind shifted, so we couldn't hide in the bay.
Yeah, another big drum. There's a big drum.
And look, those big drum. Us locals are so spoiled. I know you are. As much time as you and your family spend on the water, but like crews like that are from all over. I can't tell you how many times those big drum come in the boat, and the local will be roll his eyes. Oh, here we go. Another drum. But the kid or the out of towner will stop and just be speechless and say, "That's the biggest fish I've ever caught." And they will never forget that.
I know, man. I get it. And that's the way my grandkids get hooked on it, to take them to catch a big drum or something like that. It's just so incredible. Hey, that last photo, incidentally, was from a very special event that you and I are going to spend more time tomorrow talking about. But give the headline for that photo that we were looking at.
Yeah, that was it was actually our Veterans Day trip that got weathered out last year. And we had to bump it like months ahead because of weather and schedules and everything. And I could talk all day about that stuff, but we had to move it all the way to April to even start getting schedules right. And we've never had a bad one.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow, actually, we're going to talk about it. And
Okay.
what you, for the radio audience, you've got a pile of fish in front of quite a large number of fishermen, and this is a really important event that Sonny and his team do, and we'll talk about why that's important to them and what it's all about when we come back together again tomorrow. But we're at the end of our time together, Sonny, for today. It's been a pleasure to catch up with you, man. Look forward to catching up with you again tomorrow to talk about the Veterans event.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Bet, man. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.